Okay, hello, I'm Arjun, and this is the second video in my robotics series. In the last video, I said that I was going to make the next tutorial focus around Carol J. Robot. However, I devoted my time to instead developing my own robotics simulator, and we will be starting to work with that today. So first I'm going to walk you through the installation and everything that you need to get it working. The scripting language that I chose to use for you guys is Python. So the first thing that you want to do is go to this page to download Python. I'll have a link in the description of this video, of course. And you're just going to want to click here to download the latest version of Python. And you'll walk through the installer and get it all set up. Now, once you're done with that, you will need to install an IDE, or Integrated Development Environment. This is basically something that is a special tool that you use to write code. So the one that I recommend, it's very easy to use, very small, is Visual Studio Code. I'll have a link to this, of course, as well. So just click the download button for Windows or Mac, depending on what you are, and just run through the installation process to get that set up. Now that you have both Python and VS Code, we're going to want to go into VS Code. This is some code I had earlier, but you will be met by a window that looks like this. It says welcome. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is go down here to the extensions tab and search up Python, and then choose this one. I have it installed already, but you're going to want to install this. This will give your Visual Studio Code some special properties to make it easier to run Python scripts. Alright, then once you have that set up, now we can install the robotics simulator that I've developed. I'll have a link to that as well. And if you ever get confused through this video, you can always refer to here. All the installation setup is documented in the documentation tab. And so we will want to go to the releases tab, and depending on what your operating system is, you'll download the correct package and just unzip it like you would with any package. And for Windows, it'll give you an executable file or an installer file that you can use to install the app and get set up. On macOS, it'll just, once you extract this, it'll just give you the app. I have to note, however, I'm not a registered Apple developer, so it might tell you that you cannot run this app because it's not from an identified developer. You'll just have to go to System Preferences and then go to the Security and Privacy tab and click on the Open Anyway button, and this will allow you to run the app. Alright, so once you have the RoboSim app set up, I have it right here. Click on it to open it. And here you go. You're in and you're met with the robot. So let me just start giving you some features of the robot. So if you press escape, you'll be able to reveal the mouse. If you click back, you'll be able to control the camera again. Down here, you have a show controls button. This will show you all the controls for the robotics simulator. Of course, if you need more detailed controls, you can always go to the wiki page that I have linked in the description to be able to see how everything works. There's a couple camera modes, so like first person, and we have top down, but I prefer free to rotate. And then over here we have toggle telecontrol, and this is the button that will allow you to control the robot with the keyboard. I'm using the W, A, S, and D keys to turn and move forward and backwards. It's pretty intuitive, and you can also reset the robot position to go back to the original position at any time. Down here we have the Place Obstacles button, and this will allow you to place some blocks. And once you place blocks, of course, those serve as obstacles, so we can't go past them, of course, and we just have to reset our robot position. And let's clear all the obstacles for now. Okay, so what you guys are really here for is to be able to run Python scripts, and that's really the main allure of this program. So how we're going to do that? First thing that you want to do is just exit this, go to your desktop, and let's create a new folder, and let's just call it RoboSim scripts for now. And we're going to go back to VS Code and just go to File, Open Folder, go to your desktop, and choose that RoboSim scripts folder. Now we're here. One quick installation thing that we have to do is you have to open a terminal. So how you're going to want to do that is go to View, and then click on Terminal. That'll give you this thing. It might look scary at first, but don't worry, it's very easy to use, and I'll walk you through how to do it. So the first thing you're going to want to type is pip install, and then RoboSim 3D. I made this package for being able to interact with the RoboSim app, and all this will do is download some special code that will allow you to connect your Python script to the RoboSim app that I've developed. So we'll just wait for that to install. It's installed. So now we want to make a new file. So go up here to the New File button, and we can call it whatever we want. Let's call it my first script.py. Make sure you have the .py, that makes it a Python file. And here we go. So I have on my wiki a test script. If you go to the documentation tab, let's copy and paste this. This is a template that you're going to want to have for every single one of your scripts. You need all of this all this code is something that you need for no matter what you're doing. And so we'll just put that in, and then the actual code that we want to put will go right here. So let's write a simple script that will go forward. Actually, first, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, sorry. First, let's explain what all this does. From this first line right here, imports the software that we need to be able to connect to the RoboSim app. This next line imports a special module called time, which will allow us to wait for a certain amount of seconds. That's very important. We'll get to that. And then this line right here, robot equals robot, is basically creates a variable called robot with a lowercase r, and that's the that's essentially the object that we're going to be using to control the robot in the app. And these two apps just wait for a connection to be established with the app. So for our very first script, we're going to do something very simple. We're just going to say robot.set forward vel, and let's say 1. And then we're going to say time dot sleep. Let's go 2 for 2 seconds, and then we'll set robot.set forward vel to 0. Now, all the script does is it sets the forward velocity, or how fast the robot is going forward, to full power, and it'll wait for 2 seconds, and then it'll stop the robot, set its forward velocity to 0, meaning it's stopped, and then it'll close the connection. So how to run this is you're going to go down to your terminal here, type in the word Python, and then my first script.py. You'll get this little box looking thing, and that means that the code is waiting. So we want to go back into our RoboSim and then click escape to show our mouse and hit start script. And then you can see that's exactly what the robot did. It moved forward at full speed for 2 seconds and then stopped. And you can see our Python script down here has stopped. When you get this this looking command, that means that the program has stopped successfully. So there you go, you've written your first Python script. Now we're going to write something a bit more advanced. So just to look at some of the features of the robot, obviously it has some weird looking wheels. This arm on the top unfortunately does not do anything quite yet, But one of the best features of the robot as of now is, I'm sorry that this video looks a little bit weird, but it has the ability to sense the distance of objects to its left, right, forward, and back. It shoots at these little laser beams, and these laser beams are able to tell how far there is something to any of its directions. And this is very useful, so we can tell how close we are to a wall or to a block. So let's reset our robot position, and let's try moving the robot forward until we are close to a wall. So we'll say robot.setForwardVal 1, so that will move it or set the forward velocity to 1. But instead of this time.sleep, we're going to say while and then robot.getForwardDist is, let's say, greater than 4, and then we say robot.wait. Okay, so what this does is essentially we start here. We say, and this is a very fast loop. So what happens is the robot sees how far forward, or it shoots at laser beam forward and checks the distance. And if it is greater than 4, meaning if we are farther than 4 units away, then we will wait. This command essentially does nothing, but it is very critical in case a connection gets broken. So you always have to put robot.wait if you're using a while loop. And since this is a while loop, it'll just go back to the top, and it'll do this again. It'll shoot another laser forward, and then wait, and then shoot another laser forward, and then wait, and it'll do this a lot of times per second, but the robot will be moving, and once the distance is less than 4, this operator will terminate, and essentially it will break out of the while loop, and we will go into the robot.setForwardVal0, so the robot will stop, and then we will stop the script. So let's try running that. So I want to go Python my first script .py. Also in VS Code, you can just click the up button, the up arrow key, and that'll take you to the previous script you ran. It's very useful. Start running that, and then go into this app, hit start script. And it looks very similar, but we stopped exactly 4 units away from the wall. Unfortunately, you can't really tell what a unit looks like, but that's what we did. So there you go, your first 2 Python scripts. Let's reset our position again. And one more feature that I want to introduce is the gyro angle feature. So the gyro angle feature is essentially able to tell how far the robot has turned. So if we turn like this, the gyro angle will turn about 90 degrees. We turn about 90 degrees to the right. Over here, it'll be about 180. Over here, we're going to get 270. And over here, we're going to get about 360. And then once we wrap around, it'll go back to 0. 360 and 0 are the same thing. So the highest value you can actually get is 359.99999. So, sorry. That's a little explanation of how the gyro angle works. So let's try turning. So I'll delete all the script that we have right now. And instead, let's go robot.setTurnVal. So this is how fast it turns. A positive value will turn to the right, a negative value will turn to the left. So I want to turn a bit slowly. So let's do 0.5. That's half speed. And let's do while. And we'll go robot.getGyroAngle is less than 90, and then robot.wait. And outside of that, we'll just go robot.setTurnVal to 0. And that's all we need. Sorry, I have to make sure that you stop the telecontrol when you want to start a script. Let's go back here, let's run my first script.py and hit start script. And there you go, the robot turns. It actually overshoots a little bit because it has some momentum, so it doesn't stop immediately. We'll learn how to correct for that in a later episode. It's a bit advanced, but for now, we turned roughly 90 degrees, and that's just about good enough. And so I want to end this episode by doing a little bit of a combination of everything that we've learned today. So I'm going to use the place obstacle features to, my bad, sorry, and I'm going to place a little barrier here. Let's fill it in a little bit. And we want to go over here and come out up here. So let's go back to the robot and let's try writing our script. So the first thing we're going to want to do is turn. So we already just wrote that script. So now we're facing towards the right, which is the correct direction. The next thing that we're going to want to do is move forward until we sense an opening. So let's set our forward velocity. So let's say robot.set forward vel 0.5. And this is going to move us in the forward direction, which will actually be towards the right as it currently is, but yeah. And let's say while robot dot, and we want to shoot a laser to see how far away the objects to the left of our robot are. So let's say robot.get left dist is let's say less than 10 to this while loop will get broken once we sense an opening that is greater than 10 units away. Let's go robot.wait. And let's just, if we break too early, we're going to miss the opening. So let's go time.sleep 0.5. This is going to make our robot move a little bit extra just so that we get to the proper distance. And then we'll obviously set the forward vel back to 0. Let's stop. And then we want to turn again. However, turning is a bit weird. So we'll say robot.get gyro angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build in a little bit of a tolerance. So if it's greater than 3, this means that if we're greater than 3 degrees, which we are, we're currently at 90 degrees. But I'm going to say or, because the robot might overshoot. So let's say robot.get gyro angle is less than 357. So we have a 3-degree tolerance either way. But this is only going to be the case if the robot.get gyro angle is greater than 180. So this line might be a bit confusing, but essentially what it's doing is just turning until we are in the correct orientation. I forgot to set the turn vel. So let's set the turn vel to, we want to go negative. We want to turn to the left this time. Doesn't really matter. Let's go 0.3 and robot.wait. And that's that for that. And let's set the turn vel back to 0. And next thing that we want to do, once this code is executed, we will be we'll be facing the opening and we're ready to exit this little cage that we've built. So we will just say robot.set forward vel. Let's go 0.5. Actually, we're feeling victorious. Let's go full speed. We'll set it to 1. And we'll say while robot.get forward dist, let's go, is greater than say 10 units away, then we're going to robot.wait, and of course we set sorry, the forward velocity back to 0 at the end. So that's a lot of script, but let's see if it works. I'm going to run my first script.py. Let's hit start script. So of course we turn, we move forward. That left-facing laser was able to detect how far we were, and now we move out of the cage. Perfect. So there you go. That's how you write Python scripts and execute them using my app. Of course, if you're a bit confused by my explanations, you can always reach out to me. I'll have an email of mine in the description, or actually you can leave a comment on this video. That'll be easier for me to respond to you. And of course, there's this documentation that I'll provide, which will walk you through most of the stuff that your robot will be able to do and how to use it. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.